the
What's up? What's good? As always, I bring you the great content. And today's question is, why is rich white people allowed to get bail for the same charges that Diddy's in court for? The same charges, if not worse. But the only difference is they're rich and white, and Diddy's black and rich. Everybody has Diddy guilty, even though he beat the case. Everybody still talks down on him. Everybody still talks that he's a monster. Everybody reports still that he's a monster. But guess what? These same people, because they're mainly white people that's talking down on Diddy, they don't talk down on the white folks. Do you ever notice in history, Hugh Hefner threw the most freak-offs of all time? White girls came up dead at these freak-off parties. Nobody gives a fuck. Nobody talked about it. It was okay. Until black people started having freak-offs and sex parties. And then it became criminal. And then you want to lock us up. But when the white people do it, it's fine. Elvis Presley, Jerry Lee Lewis married 14-year-old girls. 14-year-old girls. But you know, white America is fine with it. They're okay with it. We don't even talk about this case right here. You know why? Because they're rich white men. The media don't even put this on the news every day. You know why? Because they're rich white men. But every time I turn on social media or TV or cable TV, I see a Diddy story. How about we start talking about these white motherfuckers that's doing the same crimes? Enough of me talking. Let's get to some of the work.
We're here today to announce the arrest and charging of 3 defendants. Former CEO of Abercrombie Fitch, Michael Jeffries, Matthew Smith, and James Jacobson, on charges of sex trafficking and engaging in interstate prostitution. Powerful individuals for too long.
Now, they been sex trafficking and interstate prostitution. Why they didn't get hit with the RICO Act? And mind you, this is out of New York. Just like Diddy's case, this is out of the Eastern District of New York, but only the black men get charged with RICO. And if you go look on my YouTube, you'll see a story about Jack Johnson. Jack Johnson was the first person ever charged with the Mann Act. The FBI was created to charge Jack Johnson with the Mann Act. So it's clear from the beginning of history of these charges, it was only targeted for black people. White people could have all the freak-offs. White girls can come up dead. They don't give 2 fucks about it. But let niggas, N-E-G-U-S, niggas, start having freak-offs, and now it's a crime.
Have trafficked and abused for their own sexual pleasure young people with few resources and a dream of securing a successful career in fashion or entertainment. To anyone who thinks they can exploit and coerce others by using the so-called casting couch system, this case should serve as a warning. prepare to trade that couch.
Hey, if you just joined in, please, man, I'm a small channel. Hit that like, share, subscribe, let everybody know we talking about why these rich white men who was charged with the same crimes as Diddy can get bail, but Diddy can't. We don't even see this case on the news. We don't even see them talking about it, but yet, Diddy locked up. These white men are free on bail.
For a bed in federal prison. The message from today's prosecution is clear. Sexually exploiting vulnerable human beings is a crime, and doing so by dangling dreams of a future in fashion or modeling or any other business is no different. My office and our law enforcement partners will always prioritize standing up for victims, no matter their gender and no matter how powerful the wrongdoers think they are. We will hold them to account. As we allege in the indictment, between 1992 and 2014, Michael Jeffries was the Chief Executive Officer of Abercrombie and Fitch. Abercrombie was a widely known clothing retailer with stores around the world. Aspiring fashion models knew that a place on one of Abercrombie's iconic ads could be the ticket to success in the modeling industry. But while Jeffries was the CEO of one of the most recognizable clothing retailers in the world, he was using his power, his wealth, and his influence to traffic men for his own sexual pleasure and that of his romantic partner, Matthew Smith.
So, he's being accused of the same thing Diddy was being accused, using your power and your wealth and your jets to fly men around for sex. So why wasn't he charged with the RICO Act? You know why? Or the Mann Act. You know why? Because that's only for niggas. N-E-G-U-S. Niggas. Not with the E-R. N-E-G-U-S. Niggas. Which means king. These white men was charged with the same crimes Diddy was charged with. Using their power, using their influence to fly men all around the world to have sex. But guess what? These white men wasn't charged with the Mann Act like Diddy. These white men wasn't charged with the RICO Act like Diddy. Or these white men was allowed bail. Why Diddy ain't allowed bail? Cause he a nigga. N-E-G-U-S. We niggas. Not with the E-R. N-E-G-U-S. Niggas, which mean kings. So, I'm just showing you that America ain't fair. They don't give a fuck about us black folks. Their whole goal is to suppress us and not let us rise up. Cause white men do the same shit we do. No problem. Hugh Hefner had freak-offs and little white girls turned up dead, and it was okay. But Diddy had some freak-offs, he in jail, and you trying to embarrass him and tarnish his reputation, but enough of me talking.
So here's what's alleged in the indictment. Jeffries and Smith employed James Jacobson to act as a recruiter to find men. Jacobson engaged in, quote, tryouts with men across the world where he would typically pay them to engage in sex acts with him. Following the tryouts with Jacobson, Smith would often then personally approve whether the men who were selected would meet Jeffries and Smith. The defendants would fly the selected men to Jeffries and Smith's homes in the Hamptons in New York City or to hotels around the world in such places as England, France, Italy, Morocco, and St. Bart's for the purpose of attending events to engage in commercial sex. But beyond simply hiring men.
So, just as you heard, they was doing more than Diddy. They had a guy who paid guys to have sex tryouts. They had sexual tryouts. And if you pass the sexual tryouts, you got to fly around the world. They named several places to meet the rich Abercrombie Fitch or whatever, however you say the word. You got the flyer, same thing Diddy was charged with. But guess what? They didn't charge these white motherfuckers with the Mann Act. They didn't charge these white motherfuckers with RICO. But they were doing more than what Diddy was doing. But people say the world ain't racist. I mean, it's clear that rich white people get treated different than rich black people. Poor black people get treated different than poor white people. These are the facts, and I just deliver them to you.
And for sex, Jeffries, Smith, and Jacobson used force, fraud, and coercion to traffic those men.
Force, fraud, and coercion to traffic them men. The same thing Diddy was charged, except for Diddy was charged with Mann Act and RICO. Why is these rich white motherfuckers not charged with Mann Act and RICO? Oh, they rich and white, my fault.
For their own sexual gratification. The defendants caused the men to believe that not complying with requests for certain acts, sex acts, during the events could harm their careers. The defendants pressured the men to consume alcohol, Viagra, and muscle relaxants known as poppers during the sex events.
Wow. All Diddy sex workers claim they never was forced to do any drugs. They may have smoked a joint with them, but they wasn't given anything else. So, it's crazy, but it is what it is. Pay attention and watch and learn. Like I said, I present you the facts, and I show you what be going on. I show you what's happening, and these white motherfuckers is treated way better than Diddy.
And they required the presence of staff during the sexual activity and ensured that the men did not leave the sex events until Jeffries and Smith decided that the sessions were over.
So they was even holding the men hostage. You couldn't leave until we say it was done. Diddy wasn't charged with that. Or they didn't say that about Diddy.
Additionally, the indictment alleges on more than one occasion when men did not or could not consent, Jeffries and Smith violated the bodily integrity of these men by subjecting them or continuing to subject them to invasive sexual and violent contact by body parts and other objects.
Thanks.
So there you have it, and that part of the case, like, these men was doing shit way worse than Diddy, but they're not on the news every day. We're not talking about this. Oh, Diddy is the only pervert in America. No, these white motherfuckers is big perverts. They're big perverts, and nobody's talking about it. Nobody's saying nothing. Nobody care about it. People are seeing this on their feed. Why rich white men are, and they passing it up. They coming in my chat. They coming in my room for 1 or 2 seconds. Yeah, because you don't want to talk about rich white motherfuckers doing shit. Only when the niggas do shit. Niggas, N-E-G-U-S. Niggas, which means king.
Tonight, the shocking arrest of the man who helped launch Abercrombie & Fitch to must-wear brand status. The accusers numbering more than a dozen. Their allegations horrifying. Here's ABC's senior investigative correspondent, Aaron Kaczorski.
We're here today to announce the arrest and charging of 3 defendants.
It was a stunning announcement.
Former CEO of Abercrombie & Fitch.
Why is a stunning announcement? You see, when it's white people, oh my God, it's a stunning announcement. But when it's niggas, they just do us dirty. They don't care how they report. They don't care if we got kids or family. They just report.
Michael Jeffries, Matthew Smith, and James Jacobson.
The former CEO of one of America's most celebrated brands, Abercrombie & Fitch, arrested along with his romantic partner.
No white people calling to boycott them, nothing. But people don't want to play Diddy music. People don't want to drink Diddy liquor. People don't want to do anything but talk down on Diddy when these white motherfuckers is accused of far worse shit than Diddy. And guess what? They're out on bail. They are accused of harming people who didn't want to continue in the freak off. They are accused of holding people hostage who didn't want to continue in the free call. They're accused of flying people all over the world for a free call. They're accused of having a pre-free call to the free call. One dude would meet you, pay you for sex, and if you pass him and he gave you the green light, you got to go meet the billionaires. You got to go meet the rich guys, but they're not being charged with RICO. They're not being charged with the Mann Act. You know why? Because they white rich people. See, only the niggas get charged with Mann Act. Only the niggas, N-E-G-U-S, which means king, niggas get charged with the RICO and the Mann Act. That's it.
And a business associate.
Their sex trafficking and prostitution enterprise lasted at least from the end of 2008 until early 2015. They spent millions of dollars on a massive infrastructure to support this operation and maintain its secrecy.
Jeffries, who stepped down from Abercrombie in 2014, is accused by law enforcement of using his power and wealth to traffic and sexually exploit more than a dozen young men around the world, many of them aspiring.
Look at that scumbag, piece of shit, ugly face motherfucker, right? But he's better than Diddy, man. He's out on bail right now. They're charged with harming people. They're charged with forcing people to have sex even when they couldn't perform. They're charged with a whole bunch of shit, but they're out on bail. They didn't get charged with RICO. They didn't get charged with the Mann Act. I wonder why. Is it because they white? Come on, folks. Don't act like you don't know or understand what I'm saying. Don't act like what I'm saying is wrong. You know what's going on here.
Models. The 16-count indictment includes charges of sex trafficking and prostitution. At the heart of the case, the allegations of 15 John Does.
So it's jaw-dropping and shocking in every twist and turn of this case. We've seen R. Kelly go down on similar charges, and in the Southern District of New York, Sean Combs is facing the exact same charges.
When I saw the charges come down,
now, you heard what this, they're facing the exact same charges, but why is those white men giving bail? Why Diddy ain't giving bail? Why nobody's outraged that these white people, their case is far more fucked up than Diddy's. They held people hostage. They forced people to have sex even when these people couldn't perform, and there was punishment. But they ain't being charged with RICO. They ain't being charged with the Mann Act. Why?
I said perhaps this is a continuation of the reckoning that I think we are starting to see in this world of arts and entertainment moving forward.
The arrests are relief to those who have alleged in civil lawsuits they were victimized.
This, what feels like an evil villain, continued to use his power to harm a lot of people. And I don't think...
But I'm going to keep it honest. Like I say in the Diddy case, there is no fucking victims. You're a fucking grown man. You can say no. You don't have to go and have sex. But once again, just like in the Diddy case, these people wanted to be around that fame. They wanted to be around that money, those billionaires, and they thought it was going to further their career. And just like in the Diddy case, once you get found out you got used and abused, which is not illegal, because if I let someone take advantage of me, it's not illegal. I chose to let you take advantage of me. These people want to sue. These people want to call victim. You a strong man. You see how old that motherfucker is? You couldn't fight him off. You had to let him take your ass off. Doesn't make any sense to me, folks.
He feels bad about it.
To anyone who thinks they can exploit and coerce others by using the so-called casting couch system, this case should serve as a warning.
Jeffries and his romantic partner Matthew Smith were arrested in Palm Beach, Florida. Jeffries is now released on a $10 million bond while Smith remains detained.
See, one of them got a $10 million bond. Diddy ain't getting no bond. Why Diddy can't have a bond? Because he not white. Their charges are far worse than Diddy's. Why Diddy ain't get a bond? Because he's not fucking white. And America need to wake up and stop acting like they don't see the prejudice or the difference in these cases. And Diddy already been to trial and it's over with. Why is these white people's trials dragging out?
Their attorneys issued identical statements saying we will respond in detail to the allegations after the indictment is unsealed and when appropriate, but plan to do so in the courthouse, not the media. Jacobson was arrested in Wisconsin. He appeared in a Minnesota courtroom and was released on bail. His attorneys declined to comment. Court documents allege the length Jeffries, his partner Smith, and their business associate Jacobson used to lure young men to sex events around the globe, from New York to Europe and Morocco.
Yeah, New York to Europe to Morocco, France. They was flying motherfuckers all around, but I'm shocked that they're not charged with RICO or the Mann Act like Diddy. I don't get it. The only difference I see, because their charges are worse. They're being charged with shit Diddy wasn't charged with. They were punishing their sex workers. They were forcing them to perform even when they couldn't perform. So their case is a little more worse than Diddy's, but they're out on bail. So in America, if you white, it's right. If it's white, I can stick my dick in your asshole and it's okay. But if I'm black, nah, you can't do that. If you're black, you can't have free calls. But if you white, you can have free calls, you can get bail, you can do whatever you want in America if you white. And this case is not on TV every day. They not shitting on these white people every day. They're not trying to bring these white people down. But they're charged with worse shit than Diddy. But they're not charged with RICO. They're not charged with the Mann Act, but they beat their sex workers. They held their sex workers hostages. He didn't do that.
This indictment is that these three men would use the allure of a modeling career or being associated with Abercrombie and Fitch to seduce and also allegedly rape many of these men.
Prosecutors said the itineraries for some of the events made no mention of sex and instead resembled those often sent to models for photo shoots. Jacobson allegedly acted as a recruiter for Jeffries and Smith.
Jacobson engaged in, quote, tryouts with men across the world where he would typically pay them to engage in sex acts with him.
Diddy didn't have no tryouts. Diddy ordered a sex worker, you came and y'all had sex. All Diddy sex workers said Diddy didn't force them to do drugs or give them any drugs. These dudes were giving out drugs. These dudes had tryouts. They had a do before you get to the dudes. So you got your asshole fucked and then you got your asshole fucked. You feel what I'm saying? But they're out on bail. They're not charged with RICO. They're not charged with the Mann Act. But the nigga, the NEGUS niggas are R. Kelly, Bill Cosby, Diddy, were all charged with RICO in the Mann Act, right? But these white men wasn't charged with the RICO in the Mann Act. These white men had freak-off tryouts. You had to meet another dude, get your asshole fucked, right? And then if he said, oh yeah, you took that dick, well, we love how you take that D, you got to move on to the billionaires. They were fed drugs. Diddy case, none of the sex workers claimed they were fed drugs. These dudes was held hostage. Even if they couldn't perform, they were punished and forced to perform. But Diddy's the bad guy, not these white people. Oh no, what's white is right in America.
The federal indictment alleges that prior to sex events, the John Does were physically groomed, including at times shaving men's genitals without advance notice.
There were two things that stood out to me to the indictment.
So if you came in there with some hairy balls, they'll shave your balls for you, man. That's crazy. Diddy wasn't charged with none of that, but Diddy can't get bail.
One, the network that was made and used to facilitate the sex trafficking, but also the use of drugs to induce erections so that people who could not or would not participate in sexual acts were forced to do so.
The defendants pressured the men to consume alcohol, Viagra, and muscle relaxants known as poppers during the sex events.
At the sex events,
And Diddy wasn't charged with none of this, but Diddy couldn't get bail, but these white motherfuckers can get bail, because, you know, in America, if you white, you right. In America, if you white, you can blow that tight asshole out. In a pre-blowout, you can, pre-freak off, right? This dude over here at the pre-freak off, he blow your ass out, right? Bang, 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 bang. He blow your back out, right? And then he said, oh, well, you took that D mighty well. I like how you took the D, man. I'm going to pass you off to my billionaire friends. But just think, what if he liked the booty, so you didn't get passed off? He just kept you for himself, and you didn't get to meet the billionaires. So all you that got your ass blown out and didn't get to meet the billionaires, feel bad for you, because you took one thinking you was going to go to the top.
Indictment alleges staff controlled the entry and exit and directed men to wear costumes and use sex toys. Prosecutors claim the victims were sometimes paid for attending the events and forced to sign non-disclosure agreements. It's a staggering fall for the once highly successful CEO.
Damn, so Diddy didn't do all that. What? Staff members controlled the door, so you was being held hostage. You couldn't leave. Not one sex worker said they felt forced in the Diddy case. Not one sex worker said he felt like he couldn't leave in the Diddy case, right? But these white men, they did far worse than Diddy, but for some reason they're out on bail. For some reason they didn't get charged with the Mann Act. For some reason they didn't get charged with the RICO, but the black man did.
Of Abercrombie & Fitch.
Mike Jeffries expanded Abercrombie & Fitch from a small apparel store in the United States to a massive enterprise throughout the world.
Jeffries helped turn the brand into a cultural phenomenon.
In the mid to late 90s specifically, Abercrombie & Fitch was everywhere. It was very much giving coastal prep boy energy. Very preppy, very country clubby, very much the moment.
Popular among teens, Abercrombie's marketing campaigns in commercials like these, selling sexy images of shirtless men and barely dressed women. Going viral before the word viral was part of the lexicon, and sparking controversy too.
The boundaries were absolutely pushed about what was socially acceptable at that time to get this attention. So what you saw in these advertisements a lot of times were a lack of clothing. It's a clothing brand, but you didn't see a lot of clothing.
The Abercrombie look immortalized in songs like LFO's 1999 hit Summer Girls.
I like girls that wear Abercrombie and Fitch.
Everyone wanted to look like a model at Abercrombie. It was influential in our music, to the way that people dressed and the way that people acted.
Some of the models became Hollywood heavyweights: Channing Tatum, Ashton Kutcher, Jennifer Lawrence, Olivia Wilde, and Heidi Klum.
For an aspiring model to land an ad with Abercrombie and Fitch, I mean, that's kind of the penultimate, especially if you're a young male model. The opportunities aren't as vast for you as they are for your female counterparts.
But the company's sales began to sputter in 2011. Jeffries stepped down in 2014. The brand has also come under scrutiny in the last decade. In a Netflix documentary, White Hot: The Rise and Fall of Abercrombie & Fitch, former models spoke out.
Abercrombie said it wasn't that we were being racially discriminated against, it was that we weren't good looking enough.
In today's criminal indictment, Abercrombie & Fitch is not a...
I'm sorry, black girl. You were discriminated against. It had nothing to do with you didn't look good. You was a nigga. Negus. You was part of the niggas. That's just it. It's good that you tried, for the video purpose to clean it up. But do he look like he like niggas? He don't like niggas. He don't want to stick his dick in the nigga asshole. So stop saying, oh, it wasn't because we were black. It was 100% because you was a black. He wasn't attracted to you.
Accused of wrongdoing, but prosecutors allege Jeffries used the potential of an opportunity with Abercrombie to lure young men. When ABC News reached out to the company, it declined to comment. In 2023, the BBC aired a documentary featuring several former models accusing Jeffries of sexually exploiting them.
What happened to me changed my life, and not for the better.
Barrett Paul was one of those who spoke out to the BBC.
As a young person, you tell yourself this is just part of what the industry is.
Paul was a model when he says he crossed paths with Jeffries, Smith, and Jacobson in 2011.
Being able to get into a meeting with the CEO meant you had a very good chance of becoming one of the models, and, this...
Unfortunately for you, bro, you were tricked. You got to meet the CEO because he wanted to blow your ass out. And you let him blow your ass out. You know, these people will be like, oh, I'm a victim. You a grown-ass, strong-ass man. If you don't want to be fucked in your asshole, guess what? You don't got to be fucked in your asshole, bro. So all these people that playing victim, it's just crazy to me because I'm not gay, so ain't no gay dude fondling my butt. Ain't no gay dude fondling my butt cheeks. I don't give a fuck if you a millionaire, billionaire, quadrillionaire. I'm tired of everybody playing victim out here. You're not a victim. In America, you don't have to let anyone do anything to you. You can call 911. You can do a lot of things. So I'm not buying all these victims.
Was the draw. This is why I was an easy person to prey upon.
He claims he was invited to attend an event at Jeffries' estate in the Hamptons. Paul thought it was a chance to audition to be an Abercrombie model.
You know, I was told that there could be some things that were not.
I'm just saying, anybody that watched this video, he don't look sweet to you, he don't look like he go that way to you, that's why you was invited. I'm tired of you gay folks trying to now act like you not gay for a check. Oh no, I wasn't gay, you know, I went to this party and they found me. Nigga, I could look at you and tell you liked what was happening to you. You thought it was gonna bring you up and it didn't. And once all you so-called victims realize you're not gonna have the success for giving up your booty hole, y'all now then want to be victims. You was good with your booty hole getting found away when you thought it was going to rise you to success. And now you're nobody. Now you mad.
Your normal interview. However, this is your chance. You're not going to get another one like this. And I was given Abercrombie and Fitch underwear to put on. I walked into a scene that would make most people extremely uncomfortable, extremely nervous, scared. There is not just them.
Oh, so if it made you all those things uncomfortable, why you didn't leave? I'll wait. Oh, you stayed because you wanted to be a successful model. So that's where I get lost at. How can you be a victim if you stay? You just said most people would have been scared, uncomfortable. Why you didn't turn around and leave, right? You didn't because you wanted to go to the next level. So when they found your asshole, that's what you wanted. I don't feel sorry for your asshole. I hope it's raw. I hope it's bloody. I hope you can't shit right. Because you gave it up thinking you was going to go to the next level. It didn't work out, and now you want to play victim. Stop it.
But other men in there doing stuff that I was not comfortable with. And then there's other men in there completely dressed in Abercrombie and Fitch clothes.
What happened still haunts him.
I was stripped of what felt like my humanity. I felt like a piece of meat.
For years, he stayed silent. He says he worried speaking out would ruin his career. Now he's part of a class.
Fuck my career. If I'm uncomfortable, if I'm treated fucked up, I'll get another career. Like all these people that just play such victims, I was scared. You a grown ass man. Stop it. Stop the bullshit. And all you people that feel sorry for these people, stop it. They grown. They can leave anytime they want to. They don't gotta stay. But once again, their success or being successful was more important than keeping their asshole. Their success in going to the next level was more important than their booty hole getting ripped open. So they stayed. That doesn't make you a victim. That makes you a person that chose to stay because you wanted to see where it took your fucking career. Let's stop with the bullshit.
action lawsuit filed last year representing at least dozens who claim Abercrombie's crucial support allowed Jeffries to successfully rape, sexually assault, and coercively sex traffic Barrett Paul and numerous others. Jeffries and Abercrombie & Fitch have both denied the claims and filed motions to dismiss the civil lawsuit and the claims made by Paul.
I think that there is no doubt that the criminal case never would have been opened but for our civil lawsuit.
Brad Edwards is one of the lawyers on that civil case.
This is the first sex trafficking operation that we have worked where the victims were all males and the perpetrator was a male. I think that has led to some of the victims being more reluctant than others to come forward. But I would say every single month we have heard from more and more victims.
Jeffries and Jacobson will be arraigned Friday on the criminal charges.
If found guilty, they can face 15 years to life for the sex trafficking charge and up to 20 years for each one of those counts of interstate prostitution.
Yeah.
But yet, they're out on $10 million bail. Why Diddy didn't get a bail? Can anybody answer that? Can anybody in white America tell me why these white motherfuckers got a bail and they forced drugs on their little sex workers? They flew them around the world. They wasn't allowed to leave, so that's kidnapping. They was forced to do drugs. If they wasn't performing, they was forced to take Viagra. None of that was said in the Diddy case. But these white motherfuckers got bail. Diddy don't. Why?
FBI is urging others who believe they are victims to come forward.
We are waiting to hear from you, and we're here to help you.
Paul hopes sharing his story can give others courage.
We are absolutely getting closer and closer to a tipping point where I know more men are going to feel comfortable saying me too. I don't want anyone else to have to go through what I went through.
There's nothing more American than PBS. It's a safe place where kids learn and grow, and where grown-ups are informed, entertained, and inspired. PBS is one of America's greatest resources for 50 years strong, and PBS needs your help to keep going for another 50.
We will have done a great...
The fuck, man. So let's go over here to this documentary.
I was escorted to the front doors of the bedroom.
What the fuck? Yo, this kid starting to piss me off. Hold on, folks. I'm looking for this documentary that was talked about in the last video.
The former CEO of Abercrombie & Fitch,
Mike Jeffries,
is arrested in connection to a sex trafficking and prostitution scheme.
Hey man, if you just clicked in, we talking about Abercrombie & Fitch and how they're rich white people and they were allowed to get bail, but Diddy wasn't. Their crimes charge was worse than Diddy's. They forced people to do drugs, and if they couldn't perform, they was forced to take Viagra. Nobody said that in the Diddy case. Nobody said that. So that's what we're talking about. Hit that like, hit that share, hit that subscribe as we go along.
There was a time when Abercrombie & Fitch wasn't just a clothing brand, it was a cultural phenomenon. If you were a teen in the late 90s or...
And these guys, they're out on bail. $10 million bail. Their crimes that they're charged with is far worse than Diddy's, even though they didn't get charged with the Mann Act. They didn't get charged with RICO, but they did far worse things than Diddy. They had a freak-off tryout. You met one dude, you was paid to have sex with one dude, he blew your back out, and if you took the D good, he promoted you to the rich white folks, right? to the rich billionaires. They were forced to do drugs. They was forced to take alcohol. If you couldn't get your shit up, you was forced to take Viagra. The doors were locked. You couldn't get out. But yet they're out on bail, and yet Diddy's locked up. It's crazy.
Early 2000s, you had to have that logo on your chest. The stores were temples of cool, where you stepped into a world of dim lights, pulsing music, and the overpowering scent of fierce cologne. It wasn't about clothes, it was about belonging. Sadly enough, and is often the case, this image of perfection was hiding something dark. This is the story of how Abercrombie & Fitch rose from an outdoorsman's outfitter to the IT brand for America's youth. A story driven by one man's vision, Michael Jeffries, the enigmatic CEO who transformed the company into a retail empire. Under Jeffries, the brand didn't just sell clothes, it sold an idea that Abercrombie & Fitch's rise to cultural. In 1992. To begin with, what led to Jeffries issuing that statement? Well, by the mid-2000s, Abercrombie & Fitch's carefully cultivated image of exclusivity, well, it wasn't just controversial anymore. It was now a legal and cultural disaster. The glossy facade of the all-American lifestyle that For years, rumors of impropriety surrounded Michael Jeffries, the former CEO of Abercrombie & Fitch. Whispers about exclusive parties and questionable casting practices circulated, but nothing stuck until 2023, when the facade shattered. Jeffries and his partner Matthew Smith were arrested and charged with running a prostitution and international sex trafficking ring that stretched from New York to Europe, exposing the darkest secrets of a once coveted brand. It was a lifestyle that looked glamorous from the outside: private jets, exclusive parties in Manhattan penthouses, and sprawling estates in the Hamptons. But beneath the surface lay a predatory operation meticulously designed to lure young, aspiring male models. According to federal prosecutors, Jeffries and Smith orchestrated a casting couch system where men were promised lucrative modeling contracts in exchange for participation in sex parties. The events, hosted in luxury homes and hotels, were anything but consensual. Victims described being flown in from around the world under false pretenses. Recruiters, led by middleman James Jacobson, offered the young men opportunities to meet Jeffries directly if they agreed to specific tryouts. For many, the price of access was clear: compliance or exclusion.
Once again, the key word, if you agreed. The key word, if you agreed. I'm going to say it one more time. The key word is if you agreed. Everybody agreed to participate in this. You are not a victim. You wanted to go to the next level. You wanted to be successful. You wanted the fame. You wanted the glory. So you agreed to this. But when you didn't get the fame and glory, guess what? Oh, I'm a victim. He took my booty hole. No, he didn't. You agreed to give up your booty hole for fame and success. And you didn't get it in writing. So he blew your back out and he tricked you.
Jacobson allegedly framed the encounters as networking opportunities, dangling Abercrombie campaigns and high-profile gigs before them. David Bradbury, an aspiring model at the time, recounted his experience in a BBC interview. He recalled being told, "Without doing what's asked, you'll never meet Jeffries." Bradbury, like others, found himself at a secluded party in the Hamptons. Uninformed household staff, all dressed in Abercrombie apparel, patrolled the premises, ensuring the men knew there was no way out. Bradbury recalled, "I didn't feel safe to say no." In chilling detail, prosecutors alleged that once the men arrived at Jeffries' residence, they were pressured to consume alcohol, Viagra, and muscle relaxants. Some were even injected with erection-inducing substances if they were unwilling or physically unable to perform. The operation, described as both violent and expletive, allegedly trafficked dozens of men over the course of a decade. Jeffries and Smith's wealth, influence, and strategic use of intimidation kept the operation running smoothly and quietly for years. The recruitment network was vast and well-founded, with Jacobson and other intermediaries scouting for ideal candidates across the globe. The BBC's investigative reporting was the first crack in the facade. Their expose, published in 2022, revealed accounts from 12 men who attended these events. Some said they were misled about the nature of the gatherings, while others admitted they knew sex was involved, but they were blindsided by the coercion and abuse. Their stories painted a grim picture of exploitation, masked by glamour. One participant who spoke under anonymity described the psychological toll. They made you feel like if you didn't comply, you were worthless, and if you did, you were disposable. Several men alleged that Jeffries personally injected them with drugs to ensure their compliance. The fallout was immediate. Federal authorities launched an investigation uncovering a sprawling operation that extended far beyond New York. Jacobson, now 71, denied any coercive behavior, claiming through his lawyer that he had no knowledge of such conduct. But the evidence, that told a different story. Prosecutors detailed a web of private flights, paid security teams, and luxury accommodations, all bankrolled by Jeffries to maintain the secrecy of his scheme. Following their arrest, Jeffries was released on a $10 million bond, while Jacobson posted $500,000. Smith, however, was ordered to remain in custody.
So 2 of the 3 guys was allowed bail, but Diddy can't get bail. Why Diddy can't get bail? Is it because he's black? That has to be the only reason. Their charges are far worse than Diddy. Diddy wasn't accused of drugging his sex workers. Diddy wasn't accused of forcing them to take Viagra or shots to get hard. Diddy wasn't accused of not allowing them to leave or having security watching the doors. Diddy wasn't charged with none of that. So why is these white men allowed to get bail but Diddy's not?
U.S. Attorney Breon Peace described the operation as one where wealth and power were weaponized to exploit vulnerable young men. The indictment listed 15 victims, but authorities believe there are many more who have yet to come forward. When Michael Jeffries stepped down as CEO of Abercrombie & Fitch in 2014, the company was already grappling with declining sales and a shifting retail Would you be convinced? Drop us a comment and let us know. This does raise a question though. Who else within the organization may have been aware or even complicit? Meanwhile, the fashion industry, notorious for its scandals and silence on those scandals, has now found itself under increased scrutiny. Following Jeffries' departure, Abercrombie & Fitch embarked on a significant rebranding effort. Gone were the hypersexualized marketing campaigns featuring shirtless male models and bikini-clad teens. In their place, the brand introduced a more inclusive and diverse image, showcasing models of different ethnicities, body types, and ages. The company revamped its stores with minimalist designs, aiming for a more modern and approachable aesthetic. Advertising shifted focus too, from exclusivity to relatability, emphasizing comfort, authenticity, and community. Abercrombie even launched social media campaigns featuring real customers and influencers, a well-noted departure from its previous practice of using only professional models. Internally, the company claimed to have made significant changes to its corporate culture. New leadership prioritized creating a more inclusive workplace, implementing diversity training.
So there you see, these dudes is charged with far more shit than Diddy's charged with, but nobody cares, because it's white folks. See, when the white folks do crime, it's cool. But when niggas do crime, oh my God, it's the end of the world.
Fitch sex trafficking case pleaded not guilty to federal charges in New York Tuesday. Matthew Smith is the business and romantic partner of the clothing company's former CEO, Mike Jeffries. He was released on a $10 million bond and will be under house arrest. Now, the FBI began investigating Jeffries, Smith, and a third associate, James Jacobson, following reporting from our partners at the BBC about allegations they sexually...
What the fuck wrong with his nose? Is that like a fake nose piece or a cover or some shit? If you slept with this dude to get to those dudes, you're nasty. You're nasty. And I don't feel bad for you. You are not a victim. You slept with him to get to them. You're nasty.
He exploited dozens of male models who were trying to work for the retailer between 2008 and 2015. Now, they were all charged with federal criminal sex trafficking and interstate prostitution. Jeffries and Jacobson.
But they wasn't charged with the RICO Act or the Mann Act like Diddy or Bill Cosby or R. Kelly. That's just for the niggas. Negus, niggas, which mean kings. That's just what the kings get charged with. The white folks, they don't get charged with none of that shit. And they get bail. We all seen Diddy was denied bail several times, but their charges is far worse than Diddy's.
Also pleaded not guilty to those charges in October. Joining us now on set is BBC News investigative correspondent Rhianna Croxford. Her reporting was some of the first to reveal these allegations. Rhianna, this is something you've been working on quite some time. You said about 3 years. Tell us about what happened in court today.
So in court today, we heard Matthew Smith, the life partner of Mike Jeffries, plead not guilty to these charges of sex trafficking and interstate prostitution. And as you said, he was released on a $10 million bond. Now, today was important because he's quite an elusive figure. Very little is known about him. He's rarely been photographed, but he is at the center with Mike Jeffries of these sex trafficking allegations.
And we know that Mike Jeffries, again, the former CEO of Abercrombie & Fitch and CEO, pleaded not guilty to federal sex trafficking charges. But in a bit of a twist, he actually filed a lawsuit suing the company. Tell us more about that.
That's right. So just yesterday, Mike Jeffries sued Abercrombie & Fitch. He's basically asking the company to cover his criminal defense costs because his lawyers argue that shortly before he stepped down in 2014, he left with an indemnification agreement, basically covering him for any claims brought against him as a result of his role, whether that be civil or criminal. And actually, he sued Abercrombie last year for the exact same reason, to cover a civil case that was brought against him on similar grounds. And he won. So Abercrombie & Fitch, a public company, might have to pay out now to help.
So in this pervert, he was so smart that he put in his contract when he stepped down, y'all gotta pay for any issues I have, legal, criminal, civil. So that's a guilty man. He knew shit was coming. He knew he was gonna be charged with crimes, and that's why he put that in his contract, folks.
Mike Jeffries defend these allegations.
Wow, and I'm sure we're going to learn more and more about that as these court proceedings continue. What more can we expect moving forward with this case?
So later this month, we're awaiting news to hear about a potential trial that could take place next year. All three of the defendants have obviously pled not guilty, but if convicted, they could be facing a maximum of life in prison.
Very, very serious allegations. And I know, Rihanna, you'll stay on top of it. Rihanna Croxford, thank you so much.
So there you have it. You know, these white motherfuckers, they getting away with all the crimes that Diddy's being charged with. Right?
Well, we're following some breaking news right now. Former Abercrombie & Fitch CEO Mike Jeffries in a Long Island courtroom. He appeared moments ago with two co-other defendants, all accused of sex trafficking. In fact, Judy Goldberg is live. Well, we're following some breaking news right now. Former Abercrombie & Fitch CEO Mike Jeffries in a Long Island courtroom. He appeared moments ago with two co-other defendants, all accused of sex trafficking. In fact, Judy Goldberg is live in Central Islip with more on this. Jody.
Bianca, what you're...
Well, we're following some breaking news right now. Former Abercrombie & Fitch CEO Mike Jeffries in a Long Island courtroom. He appeared moments ago with two co-other defendants, all accused of sex trafficking. In fact, Judy Goldberg is live in Central Islip with more on this. Jody.
Bianca, what you're taking a look at right now, and to all of our viewers watching, you're looking at Jeffries, Michael Jeffries, the former CEO of Abercrombie & Fitch, and his romantic partner, Matthew Smith. They're walking out of court right now. This was their first...
Well, we're following some breaking news right now. Former Abercrombie & Fitch CEO Mike Jeffries in a Long Island courtroom. He appeared moments ago with two co-other defendants, all accused of sex trafficking. In fact, Judy Goldberg is live in Central Islip with more on this. Jody.
Bianca, what you're taking a look at right now, and to all of our viewers, we can't actually cross the street right now. We're told to stay behind the line here. Now, these three men appeared in court. Jimmy, you could come back over here. Prosecutors say they face fraud and coercion. It took place back in 2008 to 2015, and you could see some of this video. We first reported on the story back in October when they were arrested, these three men.
Damn, in the Diddy trial, they all outside the courthouse. They all right there. But in this trial, oh my God, we can't cross the street. We can't even do nothing. You see how the white man is protected in America? You can't hound their family. You can't hound their friends. But you right up on Diddy family. Diddy family got to go walk through the crowd and push people out the way. But no, it's a red carpet for the white folks. It's bail for the white folks. We're the bail for the Diddys and the R. Kellys and the Bill Cosbys. It wasn't.
Jeffries, Smith, and Jacobson. They were arrested. Two of them were in Florida. This is the first time that they saw a judge. They maintained their innocence all along, and now these charges stem between 2008 and 2015. They maintained their innocence throughout. It was fraud and coercion that took place in Long Island, in the Hamptons, as well as the city, and internationally. They would use exploitation. They would tell young, vulnerable men to have sex with Jeffries in exchange for modeling careers for Abercrombie & Fitch. And now the men who appeared before, we just showed you them. They're due back in court in March. No trial date has been set yet. And the judge told them they could waive their appearance and just appear on the phone. That's the latest here in Central Islip, Long Island. Jody Goldberg, let's send it back to you.
Look, they could waive their they don't even have to do it. They can do shit by a phone. You see what I'm saying, folks? White folks get all the breaks and niggas get none. But who am I? let's get into the case. So here's their case, right? From approximately 1992 to 2014, the defendant Michael S. Jeffries was the Chief Executive Officer, CEO of Abercrombie and Fitch Company, a fashion clothing retailer that owned and operated retail stores around the world. The Jeffries Family Office, the JFO, was established to manage Jeffries' personal income and assets, including properties in Watermill, New York, and New York, the New York properties, among others. The defendant Matthew C. Smith was the defendant Michael C. Jeffries' romantic partner, as well as an employee of the JFO. In addition to managing assets, the JFO employed personnel who facilitated Jeffries and Smith's personal and social lives by among other things, arranging their travel and managing their properties and financial affairs. The defendants James T. Jacobson, also known as Jim Jake, Mrs. Cook, and Todd was employed by the defendants M.J. Jeffries and Matthew C. Smith to recruit, interview, and hire men to perform commercial sex acts for Jeffries and Smith, including at their New York properties. The S trafficking and P business from approximately 208 to 215. The defendants Michael S. Jeffries, Matthew C. Smith, and James Q. Jacobson, together with others, operated an international S trafficking and P business. During this period, Jeffries and Smith relied on their vast financial resources, Jeffries' power as the CEO of Abercrombie, and numerous people, including Jacobson, and a network of employees, contractors, and security professionals, to run a business that was dedicated to fulfilling their sexual desires and during their international S trafficking and P business was kept secret, thereby maintaining Jeffries' powerful reputation. As part of these international S trafficking and P business, the defendants Michael S. Jeffries and Matthew C. Smith paid for dozens of men, including, among other, John Doe's 1 through 15 individuals whose identities are known to the grand jury to travel within the United States and internationally to meet Jeffries and Smith in various locations, including at the New York properties, as well as in hotels in such places as England, France, Italy, Morocco, St. Bartholomew, for the purpose of engaging in commercial S acts with Jeffries, Smith, and others. The S events some of the men traveled to and were paid to attend multiple S events. The defendants, Michael S. Jeffries and Matthew C. Smith, through the JFO United, hired and paid an exclusive set of household staff to facilitate and supervise the S events. Among other things, the staff transported men to and from the S events, arranging physical spaces for the S events, and supervised the men who attended, including, among other things, facilitating the conduct described below in paragraph 9 to 11. At the direction of the defendants, Michael S. Jeffries and Matthew C. Smith, the staff were present at, observed, and acted as security for, including by controlling entry and exit to the S events. So, as you see, these dudes controlled the entering and exiting of these events. Diddy wasn't charged with that, but Diddy ain't got bail. These white men do. The staff also provided Jeffries, Smith, and the men who attended with alcohol, muscle relaxers known as poppers, lubricant, Viagra, and condoms, among other things. Now, Diddy never forced anyone to take poppers. They never said Diddy forced anyone to take Viagra or any of those things. But guess what? Diddy doesn't have bail. These white men do. As directed by Jeffries and Smith, the staff also directed men to, among other things, wear costumes, use S-toys for preparing for particular S-acts. Either the defendant, James C. Jacobson, or the staff paid the men for attending the S events. The defendant, James T. Jacobson, traveled throughout the United States and intentionally to recruit and interview men for the S events. So they had tryouts for the S events. Sorry, I had to turn that air conditioner off. It's getting a little cold. During tryouts of the potential candidates, Jacobson typically required that the candidates first engage with commercial S-acts with him. So, the gatekeeper to these S-acts forced the dudes to sleep with him. So, you got your back blown out at the pre-tryout, right? And all I'm saying is, damn, I let you blow my back out trying to get to the millionaire, and then you tell me no. That's kind of fucked up. That's kind of messed up. Well, I didn't take the D good. I didn't deep throat it good enough. Why I don't get to go to the next level? And that's why I say ain't nobody victims here. You had a tryout to get to the next level. And now maybe you didn't get to the next level, or maybe you got to the next level and got your back blown out a few more times. But you didn't get that successful modeling career, so now you're a victim. Stop the bullshit. Stop the bullshit. So during tryouts of potential candidates, Jacobson typically required that the candidates first engage in commercial S-acts with him. Following the tryout by Jacobson, the defendant Matthew C. Smith approved candidates prior to their selection for an transportation to a S event. At the direction of Smith, Jacobson paid fees to individuals who successfully referred men who subsequently selected. The defendants, Michael S. Jeffries, Matthew C. Smith, and James T. Jacobson, and others acting at the direction, employed coerced them fraudulently and deceptive tactics in connection with the recruitment, hiring, transportation, obtaining, maintaining, solicitation, and payment of the men engaged in commercial S. For examples, Jeffrey, Smith, and Jacobson and others acted at their direction. Sorry, y'all, I'm a little blind. Let me blow this up. A. Employed a referral system and interview process that failed to inform men of the details of the S events before they attended, including the full extent and nature of the S activity that would be required of the men at the S events, including, among other things, anal intercourse, the insertion of a large sex toys into the anus, and high-pressure enemas administered by inserting a hose into the anus. So these dudes was letting people put sex toys in their butts, cleaning out your butt, giving you enemas so you won't have no shit in there, because nobody want to know shit on AD. But you were a victim. You went through all of this, but you saying you a victim. You could have completely turned around. I don't care about no security. I don't care about no whoop my ass, beat my ass, because if you whoop my ass and beat my ass, that's going to prove my lawsuit even more, because I'm going straight to the cops when I leave here. But all these people participated in this shit because they wanted to be part of this shit. It's just that simple, folks. Required that prospective candidates first participate in SRO encounter or trial with Jacobson, at times without advance notice. And you did it. If I arrive somewhere and say, hey, man, I know you thought you was going to meet the boss, but you got to sleep with me, I'm leaving. I'm leaving. If you sleep with this man, that means, one, you're gay. Two, you wanted to get to the next level. Stop it. You are not a victim. And the alternative, that not complying with requests for certain acts during the S events could harm their careers. Fuck my career. If I'm not gay or want nothing up my anus, I'm not doing it. Fuck a career. There's other modeling agencies. There's other fucking shit I can do. Fuck that. Y'all all participated in because you being successful or famous was more important than keeping your butthole not fondled. But most of y'all are into that anyway, so I don't know why we all acting like these dudes are victims. Requesting certain acts during the sex events could harm their careers, including by, among other things, referring directly and indirectly to modeling opportunities that did not exist, incorporating Abercrombie products in the S events, and providing men with itineraries for the S events that did not refer to commercial S and instead of resembled those often sent to models for photo shoots, thereby obstructing the nature of the S events from the men selected to attend. Physically groomed men to prior to the S acts, including at times shaving men's genitals without advance notice. So now you done did the tryout. They're like, we gotta shave your balls. Once again, these are all things you're okay with. These are all, you let them shave your balls, bro. You let them shave your balls. You are not a victim. Required men to relinquish their personal items, including clothing, wallets, cell phones, and store them in an inaccessible location during the S event. So now they're saying, yo, give me your clothes, give me your phone. Why not leave? Why not do a quick 911 call? Hey, I'm over here. I'm being held hostage. Why not? You wanted to be a model that bad that you went and let them take your ass? No, you're not a victim. You're an opportunist that you thought you seen the opportunity that was going to get you to the next level. And when that opportunity didn't get you to the next level, now you want to call the cops and file charges. Required men to sign non-disclosure agreements, which, among other things, prohibited the disclosure of information about the S event, including to their own family and friends, required the payment of damages in the event of a breach. Listen, one thing, a non-disclosure event doesn't protect crimes. I'm going to say this again. A non-disclosure agreement does not affect crimes. So you could sign a non-disclosure event, right? And if a crime is prevented on you, so I signed this event to go to this party. Now I wake up with a D in my butt. That's a crime. A non-disclosure event doesn't allow you to stick your D in my ass. That's a crime. So even if you sign a non-disclosure event, you can call the cops. You never call the cops, folks. Intentionally recruit homosexual men, heterosexual men, certain of whom were unwilling to engage in particular sexual acts, including anal sex, and instead insisted the men who previously stated they were unwilling to engage in particular S acts, including anal sex, nevertheless engaged in such acts during the S events. Pressure men to consume alcohol, Viagra, and muscle relaxants known as poppers during the S events, and require the presence of staff during the S activity and ensure the men intended to not leave the S events until Jeffries and Smith decided they were over. So they were kidnapping men. If I can't leave until you tell me so, that's kidnapping. So their crimes charged with are worse than Diddy's, but for some reason they wasn't charged with the RICO Act, but 3 or 4 people got arrested in this case. Only one person got arrested in the Diddy case, and he was charged with a RICO. But all these dudes, they're not charged with a RICO, and they're not charged with the Mann Act. Come on, folks. On more than one occasion, defendants Michael S. Jeffries and Matthew C. Smith either directed others to or personally injected men in their penises with a prescription-grade erection-inducing substance for the purpose of causing the men to engage in S acts in which they were otherwise physically incapable of willing. So in the Diddy case, we know from the sex workers, nobody was forced to take a shot in AD. Nobody was forced to take Viagra. These dudes did far more than Diddy, but they get bail and Diddy don't. They're white, Diddy's black. You come to whatever conclusion you come to. Notwithstanding the fact that these injections were not medically indicated and frequently caused the men to suffer painful physical reactions that lasted for several hours. Jeffries and Smith employed their use to fulfill their own desires by causing men to submit to them. On more than one occasion, the defendants Michael S. Jeffries and Matthew C. Smith engaged in S acts, continue to engage in S acts, or caused men to engage in S acts, including but not limited to anal penetration and the use of high-pressure imminence to which the men did not or were unable to consent. Listen, beat me up, shoot me, kill me, but that's the only way you going in my booty hole. You gonna have to have 10 men hold me down. I don't want to check. I don't want to be a model. I don't want to be anything more than taking my asshole. So all these people that participated, I'm sorry. I don't feel bad for you. You are not a victim. You participated. You put yourself in a situation where you was in a place where you were locked in. Once I knew what it was, I'm out. I'm good. I'm going to do a quick 911. I'm over here. Help. Come on, brother. Stop it. You got your ass high-pressure wash. You know what a high-pressure wash is? They use that shit to clean cars in your house. You got one of those shot up your ass? You liked that. The allegations contained in paragraphs 1 through 11 are realleged and incorporated as if fully set forth in this paragraph. In or about between December 2008 and March 2015, both dates being approximate and inclusive within the Eastern District of New York. I'm going to say that again. The Eastern District of New York. The same court that's charging Diddy is charging these dudes, right? But these dudes force people to take shots in their penis. They force dudes to take Viagra. They force dudes to drink, and they held them hostage. But they're not being charged with the Mann Act. They had a team. They had pre-freak-off tryouts that forced them to have sex with another man. Diddy didn't do that. Diddy didn't make anybody do drugs. Diddy didn't get nobody shots in their dick. Diddy didn't force anybody to drink alcohol. But Diddy don't got no bail. These dudes are all on bail. Why Diddy don't got a bail? It's crazy, right? Is it because these dudes is white? I'm just saying. Tell me I'm wrong. So, Eastern District of New York and elsewhere, the defendants Michael S. Jeffries, Matthew C. Smith, and James 2 Jacobson, also known as Jim Jake, Mrs. Cook, and Ty, together with others, did knowingly and intentionally recruit, entice, harbor, transport, provide, obtain, and maintain by any means one or more persons in affecting interstate commerce, and did benefit financially and by receiving anything of value from participating in the venture which engaged in such acts, knowing and in reckless disregard of the fact that means of force, threats, or force, fraud, and coercion, as described in Title 18. And a combination of such means will be used to cause such persons to engage in one or more commercial acts, which offense was effected by means of force, threats, or force, fraud, and coercion, and a combination of such means. The allegations contained in paragraphs 1 through 11 are realleged and incorporated as if fully forth in this paragraph. In or about and between December 2008 and March 2015, both dates being a positive and exclusive within the Eastern District of New York and elsewhere, the defendants Michael S. Jeffries, Matthew C. Smith, and James 2 Jacobson, also known as, you heard the names, together with others, did knowingly, intentionally persuade, induce, entice, coerce individuals to travel in interstate and foreign commerce to engage in P as described below. You got John Doe 1, John Doe 1, 2, 3, 8 made, and the dates these men were travels. So, count 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Count 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. These are all the dates. The United States hereby give by notice to the defendants that upon their conviction of the offense charged in count 1, the government will seek forfeiture. So, we already know that's just legal mumbo jumbo saying they're going to take their shit if found guilty. And basically, that's it. Criminal forfeiture. Like, if you found guilty, we can take your money, we can take your shit. And that's basically, as you can see, I gave you paperwork. I give it all. I give you the same thing the big channels give you. But y'all want to come in here, y'all want to view, y'all want to steal the content, y'all don't never like, y'all don't never subscribe, and we doing the work that you don't want to do. We giving you the information that you don't want to go look for. But, like I always say over here, man, I present you with the facts. I give you my opinion on those facts. And if you like how I do that, click that like, share, subscribe, hit the bell, click all so you can get notifications every time I drop one of these videos. Get in the comment section. Let me know how you feel. And if you think all these people are victims and not participants, cut the shit. That part.